Okay, cool. Sorry we're running a couple minutes late, everybody. Looks like I need to point my camera up just a smidgen so you guys can see my face here. Cool. Should be good. Excellent. Cool. So today we're doing a pretty easy meal. It's two real simple dishes, some fried rice and some kung pao chicken. They both come together really quickly. They have a pretty limited set of ingredients, although some of them can be a little bit hard to find at a typical grocery store. So you need to get them at an Asian market, but almost any Asian market is going to have them. I went ahead and cooked the rice. We've done, I think, rice on every single one of these demos so far, so it should be pretty straightforward. I use the Instant Pot. You can use a rice cooker. You can use a pan on the stove. But I just basically cooked 2 cups of white rice or so, or 1 cup of dry rice turns into 2+ cups of cooked rice. Did the standard Instant Pot, 1-to-1 ratio of rice to water, and then high pressure for 3 minutes. Let it sit in there for 10 minutes. Open up the valve, fluff it around, and you've got perfectly cooked rice. I didn't add anything to the rice. There's no salt. There's no butter. There's no anything in there. It's going to get plenty of seasoning when we fry it. And most of the time when I'm making white rice, just with like a curry or a stir fry or whatever, I don't put anything in it. Maybe a little salt. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We have plenty of time today, so if you guys want to put questions that are either related or unrelated in the chat, I should have plenty of time to answer them. Again, this is a really simple recipe for the most part. So I'm going to find my chicken. I think I got it away. The recipe I sent out, there's probably, I really like the Serious Eats recipes for kung pao chicken. I like the Serious Eats recipes for pretty much everything. But he weirdly has like 4 different recipes for kung pao chicken in varying degrees of authenticity and difficulty. The one I'm doing now, I forget how authentic it is. I think it's fairly authentic. But it also calls for chicken breasts instead of chicken thighs. I'm using chicken thighs because I think they're tastier. You can use breasts, do whatever you want. We're just going to go ahead and chop it up. You don't have to be too scientific here. Just like a nice, bite-sized piece. Same size for both breasts and thighs. Doesn't really matter. If it's this was frozen, but now it's completely thawed. I like to dice thighs while they are still a little bit frozen because it makes it a little bit easier to get nicer cuts. But this is already thawed, so all good. If you care, you can cut it against the grain. It matters less because we're dicing it, but any meat that you cut across the grain, and what I mean by that is like you look at the muscle, you see like sort of the strands running in a particular direction. You want to cut across those strands because it'll make it a little bit more tender because there's less work that you have to do to get through it. So again, just little kind of bite-sized pieces here. This recipe has kind of a quick marinade. I think it's just the Shaoxing wine, which is an ingredient that I'll talk about. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of all these, so if somebody knows the actual way, please feel free to chime in. But it's basically a cooking wine, much like a sherry, like in a more French-ish recipe, but it's in a lot of marinades, sauces. It's kind of just a rice wine, I believe. Is it a rice wine? Maybe it's not. I don't know. It's got this real nice dark color. I actually don't know that I've tried it. I do recommend trying all your ingredients, but I don't think I've tried the Shaoxing wine by itself. I'll do that today. Kind of crazy. Anyways, once we've got this mixed up, we're just going to add a couple little sauces and starch. Going to kind of get it a quick marinade. So go ahead and get a bowl for that. For those of you who only watch these for Ellie, she is currently on a walk. They will probably be back about halfway through this, so excited. Great. All right, so we got the chicken. We'll go ahead and get rid of this cutting board and knife. Curious if you guys want to put in the chat if anybody's made any of these recipes. I know a couple people have chatted me, but I'd like to see if we're actually not necessarily following along, but at least trying these out after the fact because, I like to think that they're, easy enough recipes. Anybody can do them, especially with a nice little video guide. But let me know. Cool. All right. So. One major misconception about fried rice is that you have to use like day-old rice. That's definitely not true. There's a whole article that is related to this recipe that you're welcome to look at. Basically, as long as you cook the fresh rice and kind of let it sit out for a couple minutes, just to kind of cool down, it's just as good, maybe better, who knows, than using the day-old rice. If you're using day-old rice, you definitely want to break it apart a little bit, or you're nobody likes that. So for the chicken, again, we've got this Shaoxing wine. It's spelled Shaohsing, but I've also seen it spelled with an X. Again, it's basically like a rice wine. We're gonna go with a teaspoon of that. I'm gonna measure this because I think I've done this recipe before and gone way too crazy on some of the ingredients and it wasn't quite as good. So this is again a really light marinade. It has very little stuff in it. Teaspoon of Shaoxing wine, 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce. Light, not low sodium, but light and dark. I don't totally know the differences between the two, but again, very easy to find this at any sort of Asian supermarket. I think, you can obviously use regular soy sauce, either full sodium or light. Doesn't really matter. In fact, I'm now out of light soy sauce, so I'm going to use regular full sodium soy sauce. Again, light and dark are not the same as low sodium and full sodium, but the light stuff I think is pretty similar to what you would get like sort of traditional quote unquote Japanese soy sauce. And then 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch is pretty traditional in a lot of these recipes. It will thicken up sauces. It makes I don't quite know what it does to meat to make it a bit easier to fry or whatnot, but it's pretty good. So again, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And we'll give this a mix and let it kind of hang out for a couple while we get everything else ready. Is Ellie eating lunch now?
Yes.
Oh, that's very exciting. I know everyone's eager to see her. So this is what, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is what the sort of marinated chicken looks like. It's not too crazy. It's not super saucy.
How do you see if there's a second?
I think it's this little guy. Yeah. Cool. All right, so we'll let that hang out. While that's doing its thing, we'll go ahead and make the sauce. One of the things, whenever you're using a wok, you want absolutely everything to be ready. There is no time usually to say, oh crap, I need to measure out something, or I need to go chop up something, or do whatever. With the wok, you want everything laid out in bowls, grouped together by the recipe, and then also in order that you're going to be adding stuff. So that really all you need to remember is how long everything needs to be in there and what order you need to put it in. I'm going to be using the wok on the stove today because I wasn't sure if the weather was going to cooperate doing it outside. I can send a link for the crazy burner thing that I have that's super fun to use, but also a little bit intense. That's what I usually cook the wok over. It's this stove is probably 15 or 20,000 BTUs, and the outdoor burner is like 200,000, so it's quite a bit stronger. So we're gonna go ahead and make the sauce rather than just talking about it. I'm gonna start with a tablespoon of honey. A little more. There's too much honey. 2 tablespoons of Chingking vinegar, which is, I think they call it like a black vinegar. I actually don't know what it's made from. Probably rice. Yep, rice, wheat, other delicious things. It's kind of almost like an Asian balsamic It's pretty potent. It's got like obviously because it's vinegar, it's pretty sour, but it's really delicious. It goes again in a lot of recipes like this. So this one we're going to do 2 tablespoons. Then again, we're going to go and do some more Shaoxing wine. So this one is 1 tablespoon. And again, I'm measuring this because last time I eyeballed this, it kind of got a little long. Not that it was bad, it just like wasn't how it should have been. So whatever. Again, calls for light soy sauce. 2 teaspoons, so that's like most of a tablespoon. I don't know. Sure. Eyeballing that one a little bit. Using full sodium soy, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of cornstarch. Again, this is going to thicken it. Yeah. You're off camera. Going to thicken up the sauce when it gets cooked. Cornstarch won't thicken anything unless you apply heat to it. But then once you do, you'll see that it gets really thick really fast. I think that's just about everything that I need to measure. You do want to it's not quite the same as like blooming like you would with I don't know, saffron or other spices, but the cornstarch does need to be kind of dissolved in the liquid, and it will kind of settle out. So like both when you add it for the first time and right before you add it into the wok, you kind of want to give it a stir to make sure you're not leaving all the starch on the bottom of the bowl, so that you get it nice and thick. Yeah.
Can I get a banana?
You can get a banana. Banana? Yeah. Look at her in the frame here. There we go. There we go. Now you're famous. I know. You're gonna get your banana. It's gonna be great. Okay. So then we need for both the dishes. I've said how much I loved. How much I love this thing. I use it as often as I possibly can. Just makes it so I don't have to chop garlic all the time. So, more cloves for that, sure. I don't know, 2 more cloves for that. I know. You're getting it. All right, so like one of these recipes calls for sliced garlic, but like it's not gonna make a huge difference. It's not a big enough difference that. Okay, so then we need some ginger, which I should have done with that. That was good. So again, if you missed the chicken tikka masala, the best way to peel ginger is with a spoon. So you basically just, I don't know if you guys do it over here. You basically just, with the back of a spoon or with the edge of a spoon, you just kind of pull it along the ginger and it'll pull the skin. Oh, Charlie, right off of there. You can even use it to pull off the kind of funky end parts. Takes a little bit more force. How's your banana? Oh, you got your pancakes? Righty.
No, I prefer the banana.
So again, just kind of give this a quick rough chop. If you put it in the food processor totally whole, sometimes it can take more time than you want to actually blitz it. Again, this one's kind of important that you cut it across the grain. At the end here, where I really don't care. But again, just to make it life easier on your food processor, it can get like it can have a hard time with it. So. These actually weren't supposed to be mixed, so we're having some mixed ginger and garlic this time. Who cares? It's still gonna be good. Then we need to peel this carrot. So dice it up, dice an onion, and then we'll be, and deal with the chilies, and we'll be just about good. I don't think so. Well, maybe if you want to. I think we have plenty of time. This is going to be a really easy demo. Because like the rice takes 2 seconds and the chicken takes 2 seconds. So whenever you need to dice up a carrot, usually what I'll do is just cut it into planks first. Trying to be kind of as even as you can be. It can get a little tricky once you get past the halfway point. If you're confident enough, you can take the last cut. Again, kind of tucking your fingers under. Otherwise, we kind of want to cut it halfway and then flip the carrot over so you have a flat surface. Then turn it and cut it into like sort of matchstick size. And as soon as ODS or OBS has that virtual camera plugin, I'll be able to do 3 cameras so we can have a nice little cutting board shot rather than just the wide shot. But dragging their feet a little bit on that PR. Anyways, go ahead and dice up this carrot. Pretty small. We're not going to cook it for very long. The carrot can take a while if it's cut too large. It's mostly for color. Well, also a little bit of flavor, I guess. But again, just a nice little dice.
Lauren asks, how long do you cook your rice in the Instant Pot?
So if you're doing the secret rice method, you do 1-to-1 rice to water or liquid, whatever, if you're doing chicken stock, and then 3 minutes on high pressure. Let it finish that, let it sit there for 10 minutes, and then release the pressure and fluff it, and you have perfect rice. So go ahead and put our carrot in our bowl here. And so again, we're going to just cut the onion, standard onion dice technique. So cut the non-wispy root end off, cut it in half, seal it. Really enjoying this thing. Double fisting pancakes?
Just shoving them at her face.
Any other questions over there?
Joe McGirt, favor, do you compost? And if so, how do you get it started?
Yes. We use Black Earth, right?
Yeah, Black Earth.
So I don't know what their pickup range is, but Black Earth is a local composting service. They come by once a week. You can put, pretty much they'll take quite a lot of stuff, including bones and meat, which I guess a lot of composting companies don't take. But we haven't had any problem with that. They also take a lot of weird stuff we don't think about that's compostable, like chopsticks. Which really makes sense because they're bamboo or whatever, but a lot of people just throw them away, which we in fact did too before knowing. Also stuff like pizza boxes, which people think are recyclable, but once stuff, the general rule is like once stuff has food on it, it's not really recyclable anymore. So stuff like cardboard that ends up with food, you kind of need to compost. And so you basically like put out like a bin on the street when it's that your day of the week, and they'll come pick it up. We kind of share it with our neighbor across the street, so they just drag their bin out on what is it, Fridays? No, Mondays. And yeah, then you get some compost once a year that's made with the compost that you gave them. So that's really nice if you have like a garden or whatnot. They also sell bulk compost, like you can get like a cubic yard or whatever, which is kind of a hilarious amount. But then they deliver. Do they deliver?
No, you have to pick it up.
Oh, well, it's still worth it if you're trying to build like a big bed or something, and you want to start with some really, really nice compost. It's a great way to do it. And it was pretty. If I remember correctly, it wasn't wildly expensive.
Well, if that's where people live, it's $100 versus.
Yeah. Pretty good call. And speaking of which, now I'm building up. So we just keep like a black bucket under our sink with like a compostable bag in it. And and then just kind of throw the scraps in there. Okay, so I think the last thing that we need to prep is, so one of the biggest qualms I have with this recipe and a lot of Kenji's recipes whenever there's Szechuan peppercorns is that he says to use the reddish husks only with the stems and black seeds discarded, which is just like the dumbest thing. Like, nobody cares. Nobody's going to do that. It takes way too long. So I just use all of it. It's probably correct to do that, but like, damn, it just seems like a huge waste of time. Also, the freshness of the Szechuan peppercorns matters a lot. Like, these are getting kind of old, and so they're not as potent. We had some Szechuan sausages from MF Duloc a couple weeks ago, and they were so numbing. So the thing with Szechuan peppercorns, if you're not familiar, is they're not spicy, but they have some sort of chemical that kind of numbs your tongue and your mouth, and it is kind of a weird sensation, but really delicious, especially when you pair it with things that are spicy. So like here, we're going to be adding some arbol chilies, and it says 6 to 12. Am I doing 6 or 12?
Let's do 8.
Let's do 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. This one, so for the General Gao chicken that I made the other day, that wasn't a demo, but I did not take the seeds out for this one, and I also chopped it really small, so it was really hard to avoid this. For this one, I'm actually going to take the seeds out. I think these are added the same. What are these added? Oh yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of like take the seeds out and break them up into sort of maybe, I don't know, half-inch pieces or so, just so that if you are trying to not get spiced out, eat around them, pick them out. I really like the heat from it, so I might add some later to my own dish, but try to be accommodating. I think Ellie's out of food, and she's very sad. Yeah, once we've got these chilies done, we're going to be ready to start cooking. Again, I like doing the walk outside, both because the burner is much more powerful, but also because you're outside, so you don't have to worry about smoke or steam or, if you do start a grease fire, that it's going to burn your house down. We're going to try to avoid the grease fire, but also might have some issues with smoke and steam. Hopefully, it's not a problem, but we'll deal with it. So, now that I've painstakingly...
Brian says, Andrew, I don't want to have to ask again. Let Ellie speak.
Sorry.
He says you were talking too loudly. We couldn't hear her.
Sorry. Okay, so again, now I've got the broken up chilies and the Szechuan peppercorns together. So now I'm going to organize. So over here I'm going to put the stuff for the chicken, and over here I'm going to put the stuff for the rice, so I don't get it confused. And we're going to cook the chicken second. So for the rice, what I need is the rice. I'm going to need some oil. I didn't do scallions. That is the one thing I'm forgetting. So really quickly, this is why you read through your directions. So scallions, it's 6 scallions, white and pale green parts only, half-inch piece. 4. So almost all recipes call for the white and green parts only as scallions. I tend to go a little bit into the dark parts just because it feels so wasteful not to use a lot of the scallion. Whatever, half-inch pieces. I'm going to cut this a little bit smaller because more pieces. Now you're so quiet, Ellie. I was trying to be quiet for you.
You got more food. I'm good.
Okay, so we got our scallions. So there's our sauce for our chicken. Again, there wasn't supposed to be ginger in both of these recipes, but now there's going to be. So that's cool. All right.
This is why you read your directions.
This is why you read your directions. All right, so for the fried rice, we're going to go oil. We're going to go rice, oil, onion, carrot, scallion, garlic, soy sesame, which I didn't do. So that's another thing. Like I said, this is a lot of bowls, but it's totally worth it because, again, you don't want to be measuring while trying to cook with a wok. So sesame oil and soy sauce, teaspoon of each. Which this recipe makes really light fried rice, and I like it a little bit stronger, so I'm going to do maybe a little bit more than a teaspoon of sesame oil and a little bit more than a teaspoon of soy sauce. Not like a crazy amount more, but just, you know, again, it makes like incredibly blonde fried rice, and I like it a little bit more. Okay, so this is for the dish that goes over there. Okay, so we have our oil, we have our rice, we have our carrot, scallion, onion. Oh no, they both have scallion. Huh? Interesting. Okay, so again, gotta read the recipes, guys. This is for the chicken. Need more bowls. Always more bowls. So the scallion, the big scallions, and the peanuts go with the chicken. So I think it's like a quarter of a cup. Peanuts. Where are you? Sure. Some amount of peanuts. Yeah, that seems right. Cool. Okay, so that goes with the chicken. And then we purposely had 2 scallions left in the fridge. Awesome. I find that for sure. And these are for the fried rice, so these are going to get sliced pretty thin. And that's all the scallions in our house, so hopefully we don't need any more. Cool. All right, and that gets mixed in with the. Where'd the onions go? Here they are. She's still eating, or is she done now? And then we're going to need an egg for the fried rice. So prepared. You can be a little bit daring and crack the egg directly into the wok, but I prefer to know that it's not going to have shell in it in advance. So I always crack eggs on a flat surface. I know a lot of people like to crack on the edge of things, but I think that you get a lot more shell if you use the edge than if you use a flat surface, because it tends to crack a lot more cleanly. Okay, so let's go through this one more time. Oil, check. Rice, check. Onion, carrot, scallion, garlic, check. Plus ginger, because why not? Soy and sesame, check. Salt and pepper. You're supposed to use white pepper? Don't care. Using black pepper, check. Egg. I know, but it's old. Egg, check. And then peas. Aha. What is that? And then again, just like the chicken tikka masala, we're just going to use frozen peas and let the heat from the wok just defrost them. And finally, you're going to need a bowl to cook fried rice in. Really, I know what's happening. Okay, so now we're actually ready to cook the rice. So we're going to go ahead and turn the burner on. It's going to take a little while for this to heat up. I don't know if you guys can see it in that camera, but I have kind of a cool, like, there's like a little like ring thing that I use for this, which is pretty nice. And yeah, we're going to let it heat up for a minute or so. We want it to get pretty hot. Again, I'm not trying to start a grease fire. You don't want to go crazy with it. I'm going to add just a little bit of oil now, so that when it starts smoking, I can tell that it's about time. This is a carbon steel wok that's been seasoned with just oil. So it's basically, the same kind of thing you would see with like a cast iron pan, or if you have like actual carbon steel pans where you get it in, doesn't have any seasoning on it. And then when I say seasoning, what that basically is like a polymerized oil. So you heat the pan up really, really hot. You put some oil in, rub it around, and it kind of like it polymerizes, but it like permanently sticks to the pan. And it kind of makes like a non-stick surface, which is pretty awesome. Hey, Beth, can you give me some paper towels when you have a second? So just so that this is challenging. So just so that I have oil kind of everywhere, I want to take a paper towel and just give it a little rubberoo here. That's a technical term, yep. Okay, cool. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to toast the rice up a little bit. I'm actually going to move her because I don't want her to get.
Push it forward.
I don't want Ellie to get splattered with hot oil here because that would be really not fun. How are we doing over here? What's going on? Can you please have an Ellie close-up at some point? Yeah, that could probably be arranged. Okay, so the whole pan is starting to kind of smoke a little bit, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead. So this recipe tells you to do half the rice at a time. I think that's probably correct, but like, nobody got time for that. We're just going to add all the rice. Again, this is freshly cooked rice. Doesn't have to be day-old rice. It's going to be totally fine. So all that we're looking for here is for the rice to kind of get a little bit toasty. I think the recipe says to make it like a little bit browned. What you don't want to do is burn it. When you are using like the crazy outdoor burner, it's really easy to burn the rice just because it's so freaking hot. And you kind of have to be like constantly moving it around. Whereas with this on the indoor burner, we can kind of let it hang out for a little while. I'm not going to be risking it getting too hot. So you see, I don't know if it's coming through, but there's a, can I switch videos? I don't know if I can. But it's starting to kind of brown a little bit, get kind of chewy. What you would see like in bibimbap when you're doing like the stone pot, and the rice gets all like crispy on the bottom. You don't want it quite that done, but you're kind of looking for that same sort of just like extra delicious rice happenings. All right, so after this is done, we're going to add a little bit more oil. We're going to add all the veggies, kind of cook those up a little bit. Once those are kind of sweated and mixed in, we're going to add the seasoning, which is just that, the soy sauce and the sesame oil. Mix that in some more, salt, pepper, mix it in some more, fry an egg in the middle, mix it in some more, add the peas, boom, done. So outdoors, this would have been way done. Everything takes a lot more time inside, but looking really good. Getting a nice brown on a lot of it. And so I'm probably going to give this another, 30, 45 seconds, and it's going to be good. While that's doing it, we can maybe start putting some of this stuff away. And leave the light solar. All right. Cool. So that's probably like good. And again, it's going to continue to cook while we do the rest of it. So a little bit more oil. I'm going to add our veg. Spread that out a little bit. And again, would be really, really, really fast on a real wok burner. This one we're going to have to kind of be a little bit patient. The reason I did the fried rice first is because there's not really like a cornstarchy sauce, or there's no cornstarch in it, so there's no sauce that's going to get kind of all over the wok. And even though it's non-stick, you still can burn a sauce onto it pretty easily. So if I do the fried rice first, I'm not going to have to wash the wok before doing the chicken. Whereas if I did the chicken first, it would kind of leave like a little saucy kind of residue that would just, I would probably want to wash it before trying to do the fried rice. So I'm going to make sure we don't burn our garlic. Starting to smell real tasty in here. Kind of doing, a little half the wok for the rice, half the wok for the veg. I will mix them up in a minute here, but I just kind of want to let them do their own thing. Kind of got to be careful. You don't want to like fling all this stuff out of the pan. Kind of just folding it. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to like, throw the wok or do anything too wild. So again, we cut the carrots really small because this is pretty much the only part where they're going to get cooked. And we can leave them with some crunch, but we don't want them to be raw. They will steam a little bit from the bottom veggies that are giving off liquid. We'll kind of steam up into the top ones. I should be looking at that camera. I'm looking at the food. This is why I need 4 cameras. One camera there, one camera there, one camera here, one camera there.
Over here next time.
Yeah. Well, but then not as pretty. Okay. 4 cameras. Okay, so this is just about done. We really want to be sure. So the carrot is still got a pretty good bite to it, but hopefully it'll be fully done by the time we're finished mixing everything together. So now we're just going to combine everything. And I've still got my burner on full blast. There's not really any concern about running the burner too hot, just because there's enough food in here now that it'll suck up all that heat, no problem. We're not going to burn anything. So that's nicely mixed now. We're going to go ahead and add our sauce. So again, this is just sesame oil and soy sauce. Give it a nice little toss. Again, this has very little sauce in it, so it's not going to be like the very traditional, like super brown fried rice. This one's pretty dark now that I've added more soy than the recipe called for, but whatever. Cool. So not much to wait for here. So we're just going to go ahead and push this all aside again. Go ahead. We can go ahead and season this, I guess. Salt. Pepper. Cool. We can go ahead and add our egg here. It should start frying up pretty much immediately. Add a little salt to that. Break it up. And move it up the sides a little bit to kind of take advantage of all the nice heat that's up there. Cool. And scrape it down.
Michael Wong says a bit of dark soy sauce will get the right color without adding too much liquid to the rice.
Hey, that's a good tip. I have dark soy sauce too, but I think we're looking pretty good here. So then, I actually add a second egg. Well, no, it's probably fine. Make sure you scrape all the egg off of there. That's the only thing you need to be concerned about, again, transitioning between the dishes. And that's looking pretty good. So we'll give that a taste. Yeah, perfect. So, and take it out of there. Oh, peas. Just the right amount of peas. And again, don't really need to cook this with the peas in there. Just put the peas in, give it a mix. And that's done. And as you can see, the wok is clean. Certainly clean enough. The only thing I'm going to probably do is give this wok spoon or whatever it's called. Cool. Okay, so now it's time for the chicken. So we're going to go, this one's pretty fast, so let me just make sure I have everything. So we've got our oil, check. We've got our Sichuan chilies and peppercorns and chilies, check. We've got our chicken, garlic and ginger, scallions and peanuts, sauce. Boom. Okay, so.
If you don't own a wok, what other pan would you recommend using?
Just a big, deep pan, preferably one, like the thickest pan you have that will like hold a lot of heat. So if you have like a Dutch oven, would be pretty good. You know, the wok is nice because of the shape. Like you can really like kind of toss stuff around, and as you saw, I could kind of like scrape stuff and put it up the side, and you know, this will work in anything. Like you could just do it in like a regular saute pan. It's not the biggest deal. One of the things you're trying to go for is called, I think it's like wok hay, is how you pronounce it, but it's like that smoky flavor. You won't get that on the stove. You have to use the super crazy wok outside to get that. So this is going to be like 5 seconds with the peppercorns and the chilies. We're just going to kind of let them be in there, get a little warmed up. You don't want to burn these. Cool, so that's good. Then we're going to go out with the chicken. It is going to be a bit napalmy in here, so I don't know if Ellie is going to be okay with that. Let's spread our chicken out. Take advantage of the heat again. Make sure you get all the chilies and peppercorns up off the bottom so they're not burning. And then we're going to cook this most of the way through. But we don't have to quite finish cooking it yet. Maybe a minute and a half. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to plate because we are basically done. So chicken's getting pretty well done. I can still see a couple of pieces here and there that are very pink. This is really where you want the like crazy high heat of the wok to really like char some of these pieces. But again, just using a regular stove is totally going to be delicious. You excited?
I'm really excited.
Probably should have reserved some of the scallions for garnish, but whatever. We're not here for show. I mean, we are. Okay, so this is looking really good. I can't see any pieces that are like obviously raw. I'm gonna give this another 15 seconds or so, just to make sure. You can see a couple of the chilies kind of got a little bit blackened. That's okay. They're not like too burned. It's when they get like completely black. Like this one's starting to look a little bit sketchy, but still gonna be great. Okay, so this is good. So now we're gonna add our garlic and ginger. This recipe is a little interesting. Normally you put the garlic and ginger in first, but whatever. I'll do what Kenji says. I trust him. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Oh, boy. Coming through. This doesn't need to go very long, just enough to kind of get aromatic and let you know you're cooking with ginger and garlic. Then we're going to add our peanuts and scallions. I guess I'll save a little bit to garnish with. Sure. Again, you want to. This is a good time to stir the sauce to make sure you get all this cornstarch up in the bottom, and make sure that all the honey got nicely dissolved. Looking good. Looking good. So again, it doesn't thicken up until it starts to boil, but once it gets hot enough, I wish I had a little bit more juice under the burner here, but whatever. Now, of course, want to make sure we taste it. Mmm. Yum. I don't think it needs anything. Tastes great. Sauce is thick. You can't see any sauce pooling in the bottom anymore. It's all coated all the chicken. And I think we call that done. So then, go ahead. Rice. Chicken on top. Everything is in the way. a little garnish. That's it. 12:57. We're done. Oh, describe the thing. Oh, you guys already got it. Oh my god, it's so napalm me. Woo! Cool. How do I avoid burning your minced garlic? So I think that's why Kenji says to add it when the chicken's already in there. You know, there's already a lot of stuff soaking up heat in the pan, so less likely that the garlic is going to burn. In recipes where you add the garlic at the very beginning into like the super, super hot smoking oil, it's just a matter of adding it, moving it around really. Oh my god. Why is it so like that now? Anyways, it's just a matter of moving it around really quickly and then adding more stuff. Holy cow. To the pan so that it doesn't burn. Wow.
Everyone's upset.
Everybody's sad. Anyways, that's fried rice with Kung Pao chicken. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you next week. Toodaloo.